Okay, I'm going to confess something to you now. I've been watching a series on Netflix, and it's called Ancient Apocalypse. Now, the guy who does it. He's the Atlantis guy. He believes in Atlantis and thinks that there's like an ancient catastrophe which happened a long time ago at the end of the Ice Age and caused lots of destruction. And then like the remnants of this civilization travel around the world spreading their knowledge, which is why people in disparate parts of the world ended up developing technologies and agriculture and all the rest of that, when essentially they didn't know that much about it before. Whether he's right or not, time will only tell. But the thing which came to me in the most recent episode was he said that it's human nature that if you don't believe in something or you're convinced that something doesn't exist, you stop looking for it. That I think is fascinating because that links into why personally, as someone who's got certain particular health conditions, I can't get the help that I want from the doctors. I have to do it all myself. This because there's people who have found things out, and therefore I found a way of improving my health and well-being. That's right, and of course, my Spooky 2 unit over there is the way in which I've been able to use that to try and help myself out. But think this through, okay? If you've been convinced that something doesn't exist, ghosts, angels, demons, divinity, whatever, then if you're a human being, you stop looking for it. So, to a certain extent, that's important because it causes us to question ourselves. It causes us to question what we're thinking and the ideas we've got, and the things that we believe either exist or don't exist. And we know full well that there's a whole thing about people who can enter into this mad state of belief that something is real when it might not be, as well as going the other way, a mad state of disbelieving, which also might be incorrect. This again reminds me that there's nothing clear-cut in the world. Okay, we're brought into the world. There's a certain narrative which is given to us. Some of that narrative could have good things in it, and some of it may have a few factual inaccuracies here and there. And sometimes somewhere around the world, out of the 8.2 billion people that there are existing in this world, there will be someone who will experience something anomalous. Alright, which will go contrary to that idea. But if that idea is so powerful and the people who are holding on to it have said, oh no, this is the science, this is the truth, this is the facts, then they're not going to listen to an alternative point of view. So science is going to grow quite slowly. There'll be lots of stuff happening in the fringe. There's like weird people in a crazy Wild West frontier land that all the rest of the world inhabits, whereby there's fewer regulations, so people are investigating, experimenting, and this, that, and the other. And out of those experimentations and investigations, some good things will come out of it, but some very, very bad things will come out of it as well. Being a human being means many things, and it often, I think, means being in between different forms of truth and learning to recognize that there aren't as many experts that we might think. I mean, even the exhibit in, I can't remember where it is, where the Minoan Empire was supposed to be. The whole exhibit there, it's a whopping great buildings and stuff, which is supposed to recreate the understanding of the Minoan Empire at that time. There's even talk about tearing that down and getting it rebuilt because there's been more archaeology and therefore there's more knowledge out there. So archaeology and science and the rest of that is growing and developing, but humans, whether they're scientists or doctors or lawyers or accountants or whatever it is, if they believe something is really, really real, they're going to hang on to it. If they think something is really, really not real, then they're going to not look at it. So taking that into account, with the subject of this channel, which deals with all kinds of weird stuff, right? This is like the weird stuff which is weird because it's not properly researched. This is the weird stuff because scientists don't want to get their hands dirty, engineers don't want to get their hands dirty, and doctors, they don't want to get their hands dirty experimenting with something which could possibly destroy their careers. So they're not necessarily going to be finding out everything about nature. Sure, we've had lots of technological progress, lots of consumer technological progress and Windows technology and all this other stuff, but do you think that this very fact that when humans are convinced that something isn't true, they don't look for it? And this attitude of those people who say they've got knowledge, as opposed to those who are experimenting in the wild. Okay, you know, some of these people experimenting in the wild could be coming out with something useful and true and right. But these people aren't going to look at it. Okay? For those of you who've been watching my channel for a long while, you will realize that one of my goals is to bring about a culture in which talk about apparently supernatural, paranormal, and the rest of that kind of stuff is regarded in a different way. So it can be discussed differently, so it can be thought about differently. So that these people who think they've got all the knowledge can start to learn stuff from nature, which is being discovered by rank amateurs who don't know what they're doing, like you and me. Alright, so as a rank amateur who doesn't know what he's doing, I've got to make sure that I'm explaining myself well, so we can start to create the culture of getting the scientists to actually look objectively at different aspects of this phenomena. We can work out somehow what ways we can create something which is more likely to create a result which could be testable. And then proceed with that. And through a change in the way in which we're using our language, then we could possibly achieve a situation when we are not regarded as being the lunatics that we're regarded as. But instead, you know, we'll be seen as being experimenters of types. And therefore, good things can come out of it. Does that make sense? Fingers crossed.